HarperCollins and HarperAudio present The Addiction Inoculation, Raising Healthy Kids in a Culture of Dependence by Jessica Lahey. This is the author. A note before we begin. For a list of additional reading materials, don't forget to download the accompanying enhancement PDF from your audiobook provider or go directly to harpercollins.com/audio/addiction inoculation. For my children and my students. Chapter 1. Hi, my name is Jess, and I'm an alcoholic. Hi, my name is Jess, and I'm an alcoholic. It has taken me such a long time to arrive at this sentence, to be able to put the word alcoholic in such close proximity to the word I, and to face the reality that no matter how diligent I am, I can't control my drinking and must live a completely sober life. 8 years on in my recovery, I'm grateful to be here beyond the shame, guilt, secrets, and lies. Now that my own relationship with addictive substances is well in hand, it's time for me to figure out how to prevent my children from having to travel the same path. I come by my addictions honestly, as the branches of my family tree hang heavy with substance use disorder. Some of my relatives favored moonshine, others wine and pills, but the one constant was secrecy. No one ever talked about it. They stocked up on bulk packages of peppermint gum and hid their emergency nips in the rafters of the basement workroom while pretending everything was fine and dandy. If questioned, we were all great. Thanks for asking. Nothing to see here. But there was plenty to see, even if we were not allowed to call it by its name. My family's native tongue was one of euphemisms, and I've never been a fan of the dialect. I was raised to understand that the proper term for passing out was taking a nap, and voicing concerns about a relative's drinking or pill use was a punishable offense. In the midst of all this obfuscation and chaos, the only thing I hated more than alcohol was the lying. By the time I hit adolescence, I'd begun to understand the scope of my extended family's problem with addictive substances, and I was scared to death. Drugs and alcohol threatened my identity as a perfectionist, an overachiever, the goody two-shoes eldest daughter, so I bolted to the abstinent end of the substance use spectrum and held on for dear life. I was sure of one thing in the way only teenagers can be certain: I would never grow up to be like them. Except I did. Single-minded determination to thwart my genetic legacy did not come with operating instructions, so I made the rules up as I went along. It's no wonder I ended up at the bottom of a wine bottle in my 40s. Even so, I was one of the lucky ones. I emerged relatively unscathed from my years of substance abuse. As a not-yet or high-bottom alcoholic, I did not have to lose my family, friends, or career in order to find my way out, and for that I am immensely grateful. I married a man who shares my genetic predisposition for addiction, though he escaped that fate himself. We have 2 boys, and while we can't do anything to mend their genetics, we can promise them this: the language of shame, secrecy, and euphemism will have no place in our home. I was a middle and high school teacher for 20 years and spent the last 5 years of it teaching some of New England's most addicted children in an inpatient drug and alcohol rehabilitation center in Vermont. I was their writing teacher, charged with helping them find the words to pin their deepest, darkest monsters down on the page, to expose those ugly and manipulative beasts to the light and identify their parts. When the work was hard, I wrote alongside them, and together we learned how to describe the events that led all of us to that small rehab classroom, from our first use to our last hurrah and everything in between. No one wants to grow up to be a drug addict or an alcoholic. That's simply where some of us end up, so desperate to escape the discomfort of being who we are that we pick up that first smoke or drink. I first drank because I was anxious to impress a girl I admired, but I wish I'd known then that she first drank because she disliked herself so much that she wanted to disappear. My friend Celeste, not her real name, and I were alone in her house one weekend night when she came up with a plan. We'd take 1 sip out of every bottle in her parents' liquor closet. It would be enough to get drunk, but not enough to get caught. I went along with her plan, but most
Sample complete. Ready to continue?